Joining us again, Paul Hunter in Newtown, Connecticut, and Neil MacDonald in Washington. Neil, listening to President Obama there, he's talking about, regardless of politics, time for meaningful action. Can he do it?
Well, it was a tremendously powerful, moving statement. The president, it was obviously heartfelt, and it will probably generate quite a conversation in this country. But pro-gun control people will run up against two very hard rock walls. One of them is the Constitution. It guarantees the right to bear arms. The Supreme Court, just 4 years ago in this city, told the District of Columbia that their laws that suppress gun ownership and put restrictions on it were unconstitutional. It struck them down. Just this week there was another such court ruling telling the state of Illinois that it couldn't tell its citizens not to carry weapons. So the courts have been very clear and unambiguous. And then there's the other wall of the gun lobby and politicians. And I mean, politicians could, if they wanted to, restrict guns and restrict types of guns. There was an attempt in 2004, or in 1994, to restrict assault rifles, military assault rifles. Well, that expired 10 years later, and no politician has wanted to revive it. Actually, Wendy, time after time, in the political and the judicial arena, gun control advocates have suffered one loss after another, and in the end they wind up like the president, quoting the scriptures. That's about all they can do.
Wow. Well, Paul, maybe help us understand. You've lived in both countries. There's strong support for guns in Canada, but it's so different, such a different ballgame.
It is different. It's just such a part of the culture down here. It is so pervasive. You walk. I mean, I've lived here 4 years now. I just got to figure that people I see on the streets, some of them are carrying guns and some of them aren't. And something like 50 million Americans own guns. I mean, it's incredible. You got a week or so ago, a football player shooting and killing his girlfriend. A basketball player in Washington a couple of years ago brings a gun to the locker room. My mechanic has a gun. He said to me once, my big issue is not anything to do with violence or shooting. It's whether or not how he can take it across state lines, because he wanted to go to Pennsylvania. He wasn't sure if he could take his gun there. But I look around here, and I can count like about 25 satellite trucks. And the other thing that struck us when we came in here today was that this is Newtown's, event like this we see all over the place. There's the reporters. There are the people at the vigil. It happens all the time here. You've got, besides things like the Constitution, you've got states worried about school shootings. They're looking at legislation to allow students to bring guns to universities, as if more guns will make them safer. That is the mentality down here. That's what makes it so different.
So, Neil, today we were hearing all of these people saying things have to change. This has to be a tipping point. But neither you nor Paul sound very optimistic that it's possible.
Well, things are changing. This is becoming more and more of a pro-gun nation. Just across the Potomac River in urban Virginia, there are now people walking around, members of the public, in shopping malls with .45 caliber pistols strapped to their hips because it's an open carry state now. The laws have been loosened considerably under President Obama's watch, and as I say, some of the guns that Americans are allowed to own now are designed for nothing other than to kill. Assault weapons. I mean, there's not much use for a Glock other than to shoot somebody or shoot at a target. And the political will is just not there to stop it. Remember, President Obama, when he came into office, scared the gun owners. They thought, he's going to take away our guns. Sales of ammunition spiked. Sales of guns spiked. Well, it turned out that he wasn't going to take away their guns. He actually reassured them. And furthermore, Wendy, this is a president who allowed people to show up at his speeches and rallies in 2008 with AR-15 assault weapons. Where else in the world does that happen but the United States of America? Paul is right. It's wired into the DNA of this country. That's not likely to change anytime soon.
Last quick point to you, Paul. More guns lead to more guns, sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, what Neil was talking about there, when the worry was amongst, pro-gun people that Obama was going to somehow toughen legislation. What did they do? They went out and bought more guns. There was a rush on guns and ammunition. Personally, for me, I've long debated carrying a second wallet for the eventuality that I'm going to get held up at gunpoint in Washington, D.C., so that I can give him a false wallet so at least I can somehow survive. It's come to that. Do I think anything's going to change? We talked about this after Gabby Gifford. We talked about this after all of the shootings, including this year. Nothing changed then. I don't think anything's going to change now.
Well, you're both very depressing. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Good night, guys. Paul in Newtown, Connecticut, and Neil in Washington. Good night.